Adam and Sam back at you again with another slice of wrestling news. You feeling any better, Sam?
Little bit, yeah. A little bit more clear. A little bit less angry. I apologise, everybody, for my horrible behaviour on earlier's news video.
It's going to last about 10 seconds before we start talking about Vince McMahon being very high on some Raw talent. Anyway, let's get straight into the headline, shall we? Vince McMahon is high on a surprising Raw talent. Released WWE stars want out of their no-compete clauses, and scrapped plans for a WWE faction have been revealed. Stay tuned. So yeah, kicking things off with the news that Vince McMahon is very high on a certain and quite surprising Raw talent. This is from Fightful Select, who say that Vince McMahon is a fan of the presentation and skills of Reginald. The report says that Reginald has been very easy to work with since joining WWE and is open to pitches from the writing team. He's a guy who just sort of came out of nowhere, isn't he?
He's fantastic. Like I liked Reggie the second that we started seeing him do just the things he can do in the ring. I remember they were really hyping that he used to be a member of Cirque du Soleil before he joined the Performance Center, and he's obviously moved up through the main roster now. But yeah, just watching him be able to bust out flips, land on his feet, do things that don't really seem physically possible sometimes, is just little throwaway moments and segments. And clearly he's not somebody who's too bothered about creative in terms of, you know, his wider presentation initially anyway, because of the storyline he's been involved in. It's been quite lambasted. I think it was fair to say that first run with Carmella and everything that kind of happened in and around that, him kind of chasing Sasha and all that kind of stuff. But it did allow us to see some really good in-ring work from him. So I think he's got a really bright future.
I agree. I was thinking back to that first match he had with Sasha Banks and just thinking, wow, this guy's like really, really fun, isn't he? He's a very, very entertaining guy to watch. So yeah, Vince is very high on him. So I guess expect him to be released in about 3 or 4 weeks' time.
Don't say that about my Reggie.
No, it always happens though, doesn't it, with these reports?
Yeah.
And I'm sure he is very high on him, but Vince is so unpredictable that you never know. We hear
Got to get ready for the crushing come down after that high.
Yeah, exactly. You'll love that, won't you? Released WWE stars are said to want out of their no-compete clauses. Once again from Fightful Select, reporting that a number of stars released this year have asked WWE to let them out of their 90-day no-compete clauses. The report also states that WWE, via Johnny Ace, may agree to their requests, as they've reportedly been more lenient than ever when it does come to those clauses. It doesn't mention who the released stars wanting out are. I can totally understand it. I mean, they're getting paid for a few more months and everything. But the problem is when so many releases have happened at the same time, then those no-compete clauses expire. Everybody's going to be popping up all over the place in 90 days, which I guess lessens all of those debuts.
There's only so many shows going to be running as well. So, you know, it kind of impacts everybody's ability to cleanly move forward, initially anyway, if they're all having to, you know, get in a WhatsApp group together and be like, right, Tommy, you're debuting next weekend. What am I doing? I'll take the weekend after, and then, I'm really sorry, mate. You're going to have to do 3 months from now.
Like, exactly how it works.
But I mean, ultimately, it's. I'm sure I've read it before that you know, the whole crack with the no compete clauses is if you take them to court, it'll be pretty much thrown out.
But surely that takes a little bit. That'll probably take longer than 90 days, won't it?
So yeah, you need the finances in order to be able to kind of put that threat there.
Brock did it, didn't he?
And I think Brock did it. I think Del Rio did it once. I think there's been a number of stars who've just gone, no, what are you going to do, sue me? And then it's gone to the legal stage and the court's gone, you can't control these people's lives. Get out.
Yeah, I mean, it's their living, isn't it?
Yeah.
I get, they are being paid and everything, but yeah, we will see. Maybe we'll be seeing some of those released faces sooner rather than later. Speaking of which, we got an update on Aleister Black from PW Insider. They state that there continues to be a lot of talk internally, all the way up to the top WWE execs, that the release of Aleister Black was a premature decision. There's been talk in recent weeks about AEW's interest in him, which has sparked some additional discussion inside WWE. Whether they pull the trigger on this, similar to Triple H doing so with Samoa Joe or not, remains to be seen, but there continues to be second guessing about cutting him after spending time on rebooting his character. I mean, it's just sort of confirming the reports that we've already heard about, but maybe this does seem more likely after the return of Joe and that.
I honestly, if I was in that situation, I'd be hoping they made me a huge offer that they thought I wouldn't refuse, and I'd refuse it anyway. Because if somebody of Aleister Black's skill can go anywhere in the world of wrestling.
Grand.
But I mean, in terms of a return to WWE, it would work, it would make sense. But at the same time, it's getting up the chain that, oh, we shouldn't have released him, which means what? Johnny Ace walked in and went, who's that? I've never met him before. Get out. Like that's essentially the buck has stopped so low in the firing process that now everybody else is going, he's fired. What? We need him back. We just spent millions of dollars on him. What do you mean he's fired? And now, it's...
We'll see. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see him back, but I actually think he'd be better suited in other promotions. Moving over to Impact now, and we've got some huge matches that have been announced for Impact Slammiversary, including the Ultimate X match, which is bloody exciting. Love an Ultimate X. This is the first one. I said Ultimate Eggs there. I love Ultimate Eggs. That's a different match that I'm working on right now. It's the first Ultimate X match since 2019. And the talent in this match is bonkers. Who's in there, Samuel?
So we have Josh Alexander defending his X Division title against Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Rohit Raju, and P.T. Williams.
Woo-hoo! Tell you what, I love Josh Alexander. I think he's so bloody good.
It's just everything about the Ultimate X match is so ridiculous that it shouldn't work, but it always seems to give us moments that you just can't not watch it. I don't know what it is. The idea of having the ropes suspended above the ring and all of the shenanigans that come from that. It's so distinctly Impact Wrestling, and I love that they've got that stipulation that's theirs. That's their thing.
Totally. No, yeah. I agree, because people often with Impact TNA, they do tend to focus on the bad stuff.
Yeah,
but this is something that is theirs, and it's really awesome. It's really awesome. Also, Sami Callihan challenging Kenny Omega for the Impact World Championship. Callihan obviously involved in the storyline where he's being fired from Impact at the moment, but that match, that should be great as well. Looking forward to that.
If he wins the belt, we can have the Summer of Callihan, and he can run away with the Impact title.
Don't even I kind of like it.
That'd be amazing.
I genuinely kind of like it. He's great. Who knows how that one's going to end? I can't figure out. With the reports that Kenny's working hurt at the moment as well, maybe Callihan will be the guy to take that belt back to Impact.
It's definitely Callahan's definitely somebody who could believably, defeat Kenny in a way that would make people hate him even more, and to be able to carry the belt over and do whatever the hell he wants with it, especially if he's on the outs with the company in a kayfabe sense. I do think having him kind of snatch that away and be a bit of a spoiler would be quite fun. Yeah.
Moving on once again, just a quickie now. A WWE Hall of Famer is in the running for a Humanitarian Award. Titus O'Neil been named a finalist for the 2021 ESPN Muhammad Ali Sports Humanitarian Awards. So he's representing WWE there. And that's awesome because he just seems like a decent guy. What else do you say about that?
I mean, Titus, he does so much for charity and for the community as a whole. Like, he's just a megastar in every aspect of his life, isn't he?
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah. He's really awesome. Good lad. AEW have released footage of their new console game as well. I saw you tweet yesterday. You're excited about this. It's Darby Allin doing his thing. He looks great, doesn't he?
It looked just the right level of arcadey for me. I don't like when wrestling games are a bit too simmy. It looked just that kind of right amount of, not quite SmackDown, here comes the pain. Maybe just a tiny little bit more complex than that. But I liked it. I remember a lot of people being like, oh, it's very comic booky when the initial shots were kind of released of Kenny. It looked quite Street Fighter 5-y. But now, I don't know, it looks kind of more realistic. Maybe a little bit arcadey. I think like Darby's head looked a tiny bit bigger, and it kind of the proportions were a little bit, more like a computer game. But
that's the size of his head, Sam. No, it looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, everything down to the ring, and obviously it's alpha footage, so the crowd's not moving or anything. They're all just kind of like. But at the same time, if this is alpha footage and it looks this good, I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
Here. I'm glad they're releasing the footage as well, building that hype over time. Some companies do it, some don't. I'm glad we're seeing the early stages. And it feels like we're sort of on board with the process, doesn't it? We're sort of following this journey with them. I like that. We're finishing off with an interesting one via our pal Heath Slater. During a virtual signing for Asylum Wrestling, he got talking about his time in The Core. Remember The Core? He opens with, "We were so hot. Not as hot as Nexus, that's for damn sure. That right there was like the watered-down version of Nexus, where it was supposed to have been Ryback, and not Big Zeke, Ezekiel Jackson, of course. But Ryback broke his ankle, and we were supposed to be the core of the Nexus, and then Zeke got thrown into the mix, and it was like, what's going on? It just wasn't the same. Big Zeke filled the role as big man knocking heads off, so it worked a little bit. Hell, we even got a Mania match out of that, and it only lasted 4 minutes. It would have been interesting. Like, Ryback would have been a far more sensible shout, obviously, for their
sure.
plans have to change. They were super hot on Big Zeke as well. Last ever ECW champion.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with that is, does Ryback get that kind of singles look in if he's in the core and it went down the way it went down anyway? Does that kind of extend?
Would it hurt him? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, that's it. For more Ryback news, stay tuned to us. There won't be any more Ryback news. I don't know what he's up to at the moment.
Will be.
Eating chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers. Much appreciated. Should have thought of an outro, really. Do you do the John Cena thing? Take the heat off me, Sam. Extend the... See you in a bit. Bye.